There's other people like you out there that share similar interests. So, don't be scared. Don't feel like there's only one path forward to network and get to know people. There's so many different ways. And so, for you, how have you been able to understand, your gift as a connector? Because for me, it took a little bit to kind of have this realization. Almost after I launched Diverse Network, I was like, I love connecting people. How have you been able to figure out what your gifts and what your calling was and the things that are important to you?
I think sometimes our lives reveal themselves to us like in lifetime. So I didn't know necessarily how I labeled myself, right? I'm a friendly person. I like people. I'm outgoing. I'm gregarious. I got a thesaurus one day and oh my goodness, I started to find all those words. I come from a large extended family too. So that is kind of, I think, how it started. Because when I was a young child, there was always someone at the house, even if they weren't relatives. Like people were prone to stop by because they were in the neighborhood. And they would come and visit. I would be at my grandma's house and they would come and visit. My mom would have friends over on like a Friday night and they're like playing cards. My cousins always had friends around. I had friends over. So, playing with the kids in the neighborhood. So that's kind of the foundation of it, is that my family was kind of an open door sort of place. We are the type of folks that for Thanksgiving, for those of us who celebrate in various forms, is coming up this week. Mm-hmm. Chances are if one of my younger cousins showed up with like two friends, they would have a plate. That's just my aunt always says, I'll feed anybody. That's kind of also been a thing with our family too. We're open people, we're welcoming people. As I got older and got into school and that sort of thing, I was always in this club or that club. I liked being around people. Mm-hmm. I started realizing, though, probably not until I might have been out of undergrad, before I started noticing that I was able to connect dots. Mm-hmm. And it has become even more interesting in this stage of my life. But I get excited when someone says, do you know someone that does X? Or I'm trying to go to this city and I want to know about blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I'll go, oh, wait, I have a friend who grew up there and she has 17 restaurant recommendations. Hold, please, let me send you an email, right? Or I actually do know someone who does said thing because they just, were with me yesterday and we were having lunch. So it gets exciting for me then. And it's funny because I'll get these text messages or phone calls and they start a lot with, well, you know everybody. So that's truly the thing. You know everybody. I'm like, I don't know everybody, but I know a lot of bodies, right? and I start, but I see the connections. I don't always focus on people's like job titles and that kind of thing. But in the moment, it comes to me and I'm like, oh, this makes sense because I was just at lunch last week with someone who works at a policy organization. Okay. And she picked the restaurant. We went to, it's, a casual place. I walked in, I saw a very close friend of mine who works for a hospital system. And I was like, hi, meet each other. It'll come together at some point. This is what you do. This is what you do. This will come together at some point, right? Yeah. Inevitably, I'll get a phone call from one or the other of them and say, that person that you were having lunch with, or that person you saw when we were at lunch, right? Yeah. Because those are connected dots. I get really excited about it, though. I just do. My aunt called me today and was like, hey, there's this kid, she's probably in her 20s, that goes to my church and she wants to be a lawyer. I want to introduce you to her. All right. I'll give her all the good, the bad, the ugly, and whatever, and help her figure out how to get on that path. But that kind of stuff is fun to me. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. And actually, so when the first time that we had coffee, yes, because we actually got connected via LinkedIn. We got coffee. And we're just sitting and having a conversation and you're sharing all these different stories. And I don't know what it was in my head. And I was like, wait a second, you're the legal plug. And so tell us a little bit more about what that means, because you do a great job of connecting the dots and kind of what that means to you. So describe us a little bit more about, being the legal plug and how that relates to you being a connector.
Being the legal plug. So in urban vernacular, the plug is someone who has access to resources or information or people that someone else might otherwise not be able to access, right? In my space, though, it is truly a thing of, again, just connecting people to each other, connecting people to opportunities. Because what I realize is I tell folks, particularly as it relates to like younger people who are thinking about my particular profession, it only takes me some time and maybe a couple of dollars for a cup of coffee to sit them down and talk to them through what it means to go to law school and become a lawyer.
Yeah.
Right. And for some of them, it ignites that fire and they want to do it more.
Yeah.
For others, they start to think about different angles and ways that they can achieve what they want to do, but maybe it's not law school.
Yeah.
And again, if it takes 45 minutes for me to have that conversation with them, I'm happy about it because it has helped them on their path. Similarly situated, because I have such a diverse network of friends and acquaintances, some of them sometimes need lawyers. And I'm able to say, well, this is your need, and I understand your personality. So here's one or two people I think that you should call and set up a meeting with, and they will be able to represent you. One, I trust them. I know their work. I know their intelligence level. I know their commitment to the profession. But also I know that your personalities will gel and you'll be able to get something done. I had a friend reach out. She needed a realtor. I know realtors. The realtor friend helped her close on her house this week. They both messaged me like, that was cool. I'm glad we met, because they clicked, because they were kind of like not similar personalities, but there was just something about them that works, right? So I like it. And it's not because I'm doing anything so amazing, right? I'm just being my regular talkative self.
Yeah.
But if I have access to something and it's something that someone needs, I will try to make sure that they get access to it. I'm careful about it sometimes because like I can't just be like, oh yeah, oh no, that was a disaster, right? You have to be careful about who you connect and where you promote. But if it helps people get stuff done, if it benefits the greater good, then it makes sense for me to do.
Right. Oh, I love that. And so how have you been able, you talked about the diversity in your relationships, right? And I find that being so important, and especially when we're talking about, what we're doing in this industry. And it's kind of my goal to increase diversity in the workplace. And one of the things that I've seen as we're helping find, connect, and develop top diverse talent for businesses within the recruiting practices, honestly, it's all about who you know, right? You want to, bring on your friends, you want to help out your friends. Well, one thing that I've realized is like, well, wait a second, maybe it's not diverse because their friend groups aren't necessarily diverse, right? So talk to us a little bit more about how you have been able to diversify your relationships and your friend groups, and what would be one piece of advice you would give to somebody who can help get that diversity within their relationships.
So I encourage people to think of relationships as kind of like these embedded circles, right? So in your most inner circle, that's your family, that's your super close, something goes down at 3:00 in the morning, friends that you call, right? The next circle is probably like coworkers and people that you really like. You get together from time to time. They're not your emergency call necessarily, but you still have this good connection, right? And you keep up with them. You all interact with each other. Then there's like another circle, right? And those are people that right? You probably know them from some sort of professional thing, or you went to school together. And again, it's good to keep up with them here and there on like LinkedIn or other social media or something. And what I encourage is that it's not about necessarily the closeness of those relationships. It's about who you all need to be for each other at that time.
That's great.
And if you spend time cultivating these relationships, now if you just call somebody that you went to high school out the blue and you've not talked to them in 5 years, and you see that there's a job posted where they work and you suddenly want to talk to them about it, like they might, and that's fine, like shoot your shot, right? But like, also don't be upset if they don't necessarily respond, because they're like, I don't even remember this person, like what's going on, right?
What do you need?
But at the same time, if you're constantly cultivating relationships, there's people that maybe you only talk to once a year, right? But you know what's going on with them, they sort of know what's going on with you. There's a reason to be connected at that point, right? There's a specific thing that's happening, and you all need to be connected for that, and you can, and that's fine, right? But it's about, I think the way to do that is the authenticity of your relationships. Right? There are some people that I spend lots of time with, and we just are who we are, and we are friends and relatives, and we just spend all that time together. If you approach everything with truthfulness and authenticity and not transactionally, so even if there was literally a woman that I went to college with that I had probably not honestly talked to in 5 years, but whenever we did see each other, it was always good, it was always pleasant, it was always real. So when I did email her out the blue and say, I really would like you to be on this panel, and here's why, she said yeah, instantly. And then she got to interact with some other people, and they had a wonderful time. And again, it was because whenever she saw me, we were consistent in the way we talked to each other, the way we acted toward each other. even when we weren't around, if one of us heard that, oh, I know her, she's great, right? So the more honest and authentic you are in your interactions, whether it's for 5 minutes once a year or 25 minutes every day, you're going to be able to continue to grow those and get things done for other people too.
Oh, that's so good, so good. And especially in today's world where we live in a hyper-connected world, right? We have all these connections on LinkedIn. We have all these followers on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you name it. But our relationships really aren't that deep. And so for one thing, for me, like the depth of a relationship is just so important. And it just was always something inside of me that just kind of just bothered me. I was like, that's great and everything, but it feels very surface level-y. Like I want to get to know you, and I want to get to know like what makes you tick, what makes you passionate, and where do you want to go? What are your dreams, and how can I help you as a friend get there? How can I help support you? And one thing I've realized, like that has really helped me in my relationships to really have to, one, be intentional, and two, just have a good heart. Like, hey, I want to help you get somewhere further, and to, like you said, not be transactional. Like, hey, I'm doing this for you so I can get something back from you later on, or I need something from you. No. Don't be transactional. You got to be authentic and genuine.
Yep.
And that's the way you build relationships. But I realize a lot of young people, especially now, especially since COVID, we're kind of coming out, we're like, oh, so how do we do this thing again, right?
We need to help them learn. Those of us who remember life pre-COVID and we were out here trying to find jobs or whatever, we needed to help them learn. We need to help them understand too that some things are only for a particular reason. It doesn't mean that you're being fake or transactional. You understand though that this thing is for a particular reason, because human capacity says that we probably cannot really hold space for like thousands of deep relationships, right? That's a lot of emotional commitment for thousands of deep relationships. But we can have lots of good relationships, or we can even have lots of like maybe momentary but surface relationships because they're for a specific purpose in time, right? But what we need to help our younger folks understand is that always be your best self when you show up places, whatever that means. Know where you're going, know who you're going with. You're going to be nervous because you might be in a space with people that you've never met before. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right. Try to follow up when you say you're going to follow up. If you get someone's business card and you're like, I'm going to email you, I'm going to connect with you on LinkedIn, you should probably do that.
Right.
Because people take your word seriously. You have to do a both and though. Like you can't just randomly search LinkedIn and start connecting with people. You have to probably meet people in person first, or at least if you start with LinkedIn, a fast follow with maybe a phone call or some sort of personal message, right? I think that there is a misnomer and there's a misunderstanding amongst older generations that young people only connect and communicate on social media, and that's not true.
Right.
That is often an entry point though.
Yeah.
I look at one of my friend's daughters who I'm pretty close to, and she's in college, and she legit like makes new friends on Instagram, and I'm like, how do you do that? Right? I don't understand. My Instagram is private, but and that starts there, and that's just, it's a different angle though. But I think we're like, oh, they only want to connect with people online. Well, no, because then she goes out with their friends and they have a ball. So we have to stop saying that. But for young people though, be brave, be bold, don't be aggressive, be assertive. Understand that particularly if you're trying to meet certain people at certain points in their career, a lot of times they're super busy. So you got to be pretty clear and direct about, I would like to meet you for coffee. I'm interested in learning about your career journey because of X, right? And they will tell you yes or no. And if they say no, it doesn't mean they don't like you. It means they don't have time, right? Sometimes they'll say, I'm probably not the best person to talk to about that. Let me get you over here. Like there's a lot of things. But follow up when you say you're going to follow up. Be who you are for real. Don't try to like pretend to be someone else to impress people, because often they see that is shenanigans. Be your regular self. Yeah.
Oh, that was such good advice. And even for me, like that's super helpful for me to know and understand. And I know like the older generation is trying to get to know the younger generation. We're trying to bridge those gaps. Not again, as my younger self, they're not always like oh, Gen Z or Gen X, whatever it might be, that they're, and then us thinking that the boomers are always stuck in their ways. No, like we're both still trying to get to know each other, and it's always changing, right? And so, what have you seen? What is one thing that you can help us know about the older generation, about one thing that we can help them connect with us in a better way and kind of bridge that gap just a little bit closer?
I'm glad you asked this question. Listen up. All right, so I actually just had this conversation with a mentee last week and talking about I'm starting to understand better even for myself as the child of a boomer and, a grandmother who grew up in the Depression era and all their older relatives, they're 70s and 80s now. And I'm starting to realize that sometimes when we think they're being mean or being stringent or too traditional, it is because of the time when they came up, when they were my age or even younger, the things that they faced were different. They did not have access to the same things that we have now. Think about the civil rights movement. They had mimeograph machines. They didn't have Twitter to tell people where to show up to a march, right?
Yeah.
And then some of it too is because not everything was happy and great in some of the times they grew up. If they were, immigrating to this country and they were young people who had to leave their parents, or if they were African American folks who were dealing with the civil rights movement and some of the other prejudices and things and times that came up, some of the ways in which they respond to us is because they had to put on a veneer for survival.
Yeah.
Right? I think about my grandmother was born in 1930.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the Great Depression. She was the second of 7 children.
Wow.
Folks were trying to eat and to keep a roof over their head, right?
Wow.
So it wasn't that they were, and they did not have time. I think because some of the ways that they were dealing with things and some of the things that they were dealing with, they didn't have time to unpack everything. We spend a lot of time processing and sitting with our feelings and trying to figure out what's going on with us. Sometimes they didn't have that luxury. So I try to extend grace in that direction too, to figure out if they're appearing this way, let me remember like when they were born or where they're from or what their family, if I know, what their family dynamics are. And I can extend some grace in that way and try to ask questions and learn as they'll tell me. And I offer that to people younger than me as well. It's not always that they're mean. It's sometimes that they have not been able to shift.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. I think the one thing that was really clear to me is like just get to know the person for who they are. Ignore all the prejudices, the stereotypes. Like we're all different, like we talked about earlier. And you really don't know the person, what they're going through currently, what they've been through, what their family has been through. And so, again, you can't judge a book by its cover. And so you really got to take the time, lower your guard, and like really have good intentions and like just get to know somebody with an open mind.
It requires intentionality, and it requires both assuming good intent and offering good intent.
So good, so good. So as we're wrapping up here, I know we got a couple more questions that we want to get through, but I really want to talk about inclusion. I know this is your work and you even have a podcast out there. So tell us a little bit more about what inclusion means to you.
So to me, inclusion means creating spaces where people want to be, where they can be themselves. I often tell people, particularly in trainings, inclusion is not assimilation. So a lot of times people are like, we're inclusive. And it's like, yeah, you're fine with people who are exactly like you, or you're fine with people who try to be like you. And that is assimilation. That is not what inclusion is. Now, when we talk about the inclusion in spaces where everybody can be free, we do also understand that there are dynamics in this world where like people do very bad things, right? We are not just offering up free and open space for folks to come in and wreak havoc. Like that is not what inclusion means either.
Right.
But inclusion means when you're interacting with somebody, can they talk to you openly? Are you freaking out because they have a nose piercing, or because their hair is dyed blue, or because they have natural hair or some kind of braids, or because they look different because they're not the same ethnic background as you, or you're not sure of their gender identity because they're not wearing traditionally binary clothes, right? Like these kinds of things. They're not dressed like a girl or whatever that means, right?
Right.
So, but it means, can you just be open to let people be who they are, to engage and exchange for the reasons that you need to without being weird about things. Right? That's what I think about when I think about inclusion. When someone comes to my space, are they comfortable that they're there? Are they happy that they're there? Do they feel okay being there? That's what inclusion means.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. And we all need to hear that. And we all need to have a good understanding and definition of what that means. Because, again, that's one thing I've seen. Everyone has a little bit different of definition, and, or even take the time to understand, what does this actually mean to me? And is this the proper definition and perspective that I should have? So tell us a little bit more about your work, whether with the podcast or your work with that. How have you been able to, make people feel comfortable and provide, inclusive spaces? Because that's hard for people to do. So how have you been able to have success with that?
It is hard. Part of it is I try to pull the tension out of the room, right? I will tell people outright, like, hey, listen, you're going to hear some things that might make you uncomfortable. It's all right. Nobody's coming to get you. We are not attacking you. You are not under physical duress or strain. Like, it's all right. Be okay with asking questions. Be okay with being uncomfortable in some spaces. I promise you're going to learn something that you didn't know. I say that in trainings. I say that on the podcast. Because a lot of my goal is just to expose people to ideas, to people, to things that they've never considered before. And I don't believe in sugarcoating, but I also don't believe in like setting the room on fire. Like there has to be a balance in there somewhere of giving people good knowledge, helping people understand things, and even redirecting. Because I've been in spaces where I'm like, hey, this is good. I'm having a great training, and someone will ask a question because they're not into the inclusion thing, right? I'm using these air quotes because this is sometimes how people approach this, right?
Yeah.
And so they'll ask a question. I think that they sometimes think it's intended to set me back or to like make me panic. And I'm like, well, let's talk.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's the gotcha thing, right? I'm like, well, let's talk about that. Like, think about it this way. Or have you considered this? Or if you put yourself in X situation, right? And I give space for folks too, because again, sometimes people come into these rooms and they literally, at these grown ages, have never encountered someone different from them. Now, part of it is because they didn't try. we'll acknowledge as a truth. They were happy, bopping along in their bubble where everything was what was cool with them, right? Everything was what was comfortable for them. Yeah. So we will acknowledge that some of them didn't try.
Right.
So what we are saying, well, now you can try, and here's how you can do that. We will acknowledge that some of them, based upon maybe where they grew up, actually did not have the opportunity to be exposed to other types of people.
Yeah.
Right. So there's all kinds of things in there.
Oh, that's so good. And I loved how you talk a little bit more about, you gotta have some kind of growth mindset, right? You can't be stuck in your ways. You can't have a comfort mindset, one that's not willing to grow. And that's something that I've learned about myself, and it's challenging because growth is painful, change is painful, and that's what it takes to get to the other side and get outside of your comfort zone. No one likes to do it. I've always heard a quote, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so how have you been able to adopt a growth mindset?
I'm still working on it. I really am. But honestly though, I'm curious. Some people might call it nosy. I mean, what else? But I'm curious. I like to know things. Some of my friends that particularly like those that work in STEM, for instance, will tell you, I will ask them questions sometimes. And they're like, where did you, well, I was watching this thing on TV and I know that you knew about it, right? I emailed one or texted one friend one time and was like, hey, so you have a background in textiles and fashion. Why is it that I bought this pair of jeans in blue and this pair in black and the black pair fits differently? He actually was able to explain to me the science behind the dyeing of fabrics and why some things fit differently based upon the colors that they are.
Wow.
I thought it was wild. I didn't think. I thought I was just losing it. I thought I was making it up, right?
I had no idea.
Yeah. And he was like, "No, this is a real thing, and here's why." And I was like, "Oh, now he didn't take me way deep. This is his degree, so he could have gone for 35 minutes. I'm sure. Yeah. He gave me a quick explanation, but then it added to what I knew. So one, I'm curious. That's how I've cultivated a growth mindset. I acknowledge that even as an attorney, I do not know everything. I know that surprises you all, but lawyers don't know everything. And so I try to learn as much as I can, particularly as I'm continuing to help other people learn about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I can't be a good teacher if I refuse to learn.
So good.
Right?
Lifelong learner, right?
And lifelong learning, because that's the thing about being a lifelong learner. I've heard other people say it too, and I get excited when they say it. If you continue to learn, you continue to live. When you've decided that you know everything, you're now stuck in that place where you've been. So, like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You're existing, but you're not living.
Right. It's kind of like you're just stagnant.
You are taking up air and eating food, but you are not living.
Yeah. Oh, that is so good. That is so good, especially for younger folks.
Mm-hmm.
I know once you kind of get out of college, that's when it kind of hit me like, oh, I know everything and I'm good. I'm gonna be on my career. No, I was just getting started. And gosh, I'll tell you what, life hit me hard. It had to humble me. It really did, and it was painful. But I'm glad I went through that process because I learned how much I don't know.
Oh yeah, been there. Rocky.
Yes. So just adopting this mindset, like, hey, I'm going to be learning for the rest of my life, and that's also how you stay young. I have a men's leadership group that I lead on Thursdays, and some of the guys are in their 50s, are in their 60s, 40s, 20s, married, single, like all walks of life, like truly the most diverse group of guys I've ever been around consistently. And it amazes me that the older gentlemen, like they love being around it because they're like, wow, we learn from the younger folks. And again, I mean, we're learning from the older folks as well. And so like just this natural, organic way for us just to, find ways to be better and to learn new things and to have different mindsets. But I love hearing that they're like, oh, you guys keep us young. And that's exactly why, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. The more you continue to learn, the better your life will be, the richer your life will be. And it is absolutely okay to learn things from people younger than you. Totally fine.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. As we wrap up, last question that we have here, what is one recommendation you would give to young professionals getting started in their career?
Going along the lines of what we were just talking about, learn as much as you can. You have a degree, probably freshly minted. You just graduated from some fine university or a trade program or something like that. Congratulations. You know a lot, but you don't know everything. And I think my grandmother used to say, with all that book learning, get common sense. And I was like a kid, and I'm like, what is she talking about? But there is a marriage, if you will, between your traditional or formal education and then what you learn by being in the world and paying attention to the world around you. And those two things coupled together will take you so far. So be observant, be open to learning from different people about different things. Find out how you learn. What is your learning style? And then seek out learning opportunities in that way. Don't necessarily discount, if you've got a brand new job and there's that person that's been there for 25 years, don't discount what they have to say just because you're just like, you've been here forever. You've been doing the same thing. The world is changing around you, blah, blah, blah. Don't discount, though, because if they've been at that space for 25 years and you've been there for 25 days, they've seen a lot of change and movement. Mm-hmm. So they might help you avoid running into a wall somewhere that you might have missed because you don't understand the dynamics of the place that you're in, right?
So good.
So take in that information, take in that knowledge, understand how it will help you. Yeah. And again, marry your formal education, whatever it is, with what you observe and what's happening in the world around you.
So good. Thank you so much for sharing. I know that's really going to help us and the young professionals getting started in their career to always learn.
I have another one.
Yeah.
Do not be afraid to ask questions. That is the thing that burns me up when people are new to a profession and they don't ask a question, or they're new to a job. Even if they're not brand new to a profession, they may be new to a job or new to a space. And they're afraid to ask questions because they don't look like they don't know. Surprise, the people who already know that you don't know. If you just started a job at this company and you ask a question about a particular process, they would be really weirded out and confused if you did know. Right. So don't be afraid to ask questions, because if you ask the question at the beginning, you'll get proper direction. If you go down your own path and mess something up and now they got to come fix it after you, when you could have just spent 5 minutes asking a question. And I get it. There's ego involved in that. There's all kinds of things that make us fearful of not appearing a certain way in spaces. I'm not confused. I've lived through that now, right? Yep. I get it. But like, please ask the question before you mess something up.
That's so good. Because I've been there. Like, I mean, you're speaking to me.
Same.
You know, just truly appreciate that. So, thank you so much just for the time. You know, what are some ways people can get connected with you?
I'm a person who actually regularly, I'm looking at both cameras. I actually regularly check my LinkedIn. So if you go to LinkedIn and type in Jocelyn Armstrong, you will find me. I also encourage you to check out my podcast, Inscribing Inclusion. That's another way you can connect with me and learn a bit about my thoughts. And I would say follow the podcast on Instagram. It's at Inscribing Inclusion.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you all for today, listening today. Again, remember to be you, to use your gifts, to add value to those around you, and to find true success. This is Jordan Nishizaki with Diverse Network Podcast. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks.